Call the meeting to order. 5 after 5. Apologize for being tardy. All right. Stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Member Modesto?
Here.
Member Clem?
Here.
Member Cannon? Member Zilli?
Here.
Member Lynch?
Here.
Member Prisco? Member Williams?
Here. So we do have a quorum. All right. There are some claim dockets in your Dropbox. I'd like to just entertain a motion just on the general ledger claim dockets at this point, and then we'll address the other CIPP and Central Avenue separately. So the chair will entertain a motion for approval on the general claim dockets.
Make a motion to pay the claims except for the ones that's on the agenda.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Chris, would you call roll, please?
Member Modesto?
Yes.
Member Clem?
Yes.
Member Zilli?
Yes.
Member Lynch?
Yes.
Member Williams?
Yes. All right. In addition to those general claim dockets, we have a couple other items. CIPP from Stitchiform, Pay App 4 and 5. You can comment about this, Chris, if you want, but a little bit later on the agenda, we'll see a change order from Stitchiform. It actually is a pleasant change order, one we normally don't see. And these, in this change order that we're going to discuss in a few minutes, we actually saw a decrease in the total amount for the CIPP project. So these two CIPP pay apps are a part of that change order. So we're just approving those.
And these are the last two, right? Or is there one more coming?
I think there's one more.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Chair would entertain them. You got a funny look on your. You have a question, Liz?
No,
Okay. I hope I didn't confuse the issue.
I did have a funny look on mine. I just remember.
Okay. Well, I was right then. You did have a funny look.
I did have a funny look on mine.
All right. The chair entertained a motion for the approval of the CIPP pay apps 4 and 5.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Chris, call roll, please.
Member Modesto?
Yes.
Member Clem?
Yes.
Member Zilli?
Yes.
Member Lynch?
Yes.
Member Williams?
Yes. All right. The third pay app is the Central Avenue East pay app. This project is actually being managed by Sandy Kolb. I tried to reach her because I had a question. And if you look at that pay app, there's actually two parts to it. There's a part to NDOT for $19,877, and there's a pay app to American Structure Point for $24,846. I did, and I'm assuming that SK is Sandy Kolb, did sign off on the ASP, the American Structure Point portion, but she did not sign off on the NDOT portion of that pay app. I tried to reach her, but I was unsuccessful. So I'm not sure what the board would like to do in respect to this. We could, approve it pending Sandy's approval, and I can seek that approval probably tomorrow during her working hours. And if that's the case, I'd entertain a motion to approve those pay apps pending Sandy's approval.
Make a motion.
So,
Second.
real quick
Second.
question on
Yes,
this.
Sal.
So the way I'm reading it is there's the total amount of $24,846.80. The NDOT portion, because they only pay 80% of it.
Right.
Right.
So I think that's the $19,877.44 is the federal portion of it. I don't think we're just paying NDOT back for the 20% that we would owe, correct?
Yeah, I think that's accurate, but
Okay.
I didn't see her initials on approving that.
Structure
That's
points here. They get you guys. Is it different?
It's a road, yeah.
this is,
Well,
I guess, showing all of or none of us are really up to speed on this. So I believe the way it works is we pay Structure Point $24,846, and then we bill NDOT the 18.
The 19.
Or 19,877.
Oh, we're billing it.
Yeah, because that's the
how-
80%
that's how we
match
get
that
it.
they'll
And
get back to us.
They don't pay us until we pay the vendor.
Okay.
Yeah, see where
Yeah.
it says reimbursable?
Yeah, that's the federal
That means
reimbursable
you have to
money.
pay first.
All right, well, I stand corrected. So Chair would entertain a motion then, on this Central Avenue East Pay App 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, good, we got those out of the way, appreciate it. And then we have some projects here. Okay, then the next thing, we don't have an engineer's report this evening. So the next item on the agenda is the change order, which at this point, the change order is decreasing the project from 640,801 to 514,822. No, I'm sorry, 514,882. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that. Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, change order approved. And then we have the Structure Point contract amendment, and I'd like Structure Point to come up and spend a few minutes explaining this contract amendment, if you would, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As you're aware, this is for the biosolids project, but the professional services portion of the project. And as we went through this spring and summer, I know you.
Is that mic on?
I think so, yeah. Okay.
No, it is. Thank you.
Yeah, for the biosolids project at the treatment plant, I know you're all aware of the changed conditions that happened and all the discussions that we've been through this summer, recommendations and looking at different solutions, and we've come to, a consensus on the change order that was approved last month to move forward with the pad. And that work has started. The contractor Thieneman is working with the GeoCare Foundation contractor and putting their submittals together. So Structure Point will be receiving those this next week to review, and then they'll get started breaking ground out there. So as part of that, this project originally was supposed to run from October through June. October of last year through June of this year. Since the project now has been extended out to the end of this year, the professional services portion that we put together, which is the construction administration, we've tried to stretch that as best we can, but we will not be able to stretch it through the end of this year. And there are a number of things that I do as part of construction administration, and that is I work with SRF, so I field calls and questions from them on the city's behalf and work with them. I also work with our inspector who's on site, Brian, that you're very familiar with. He will send us questions that the contractor has, also submittals. So when this pad starts moving, since we've changed the design a little bit, we'll have to look at those submittals and make sure that you're getting what you're paying for. And so we do that as part of the administration. And there's a lot of paperwork that we manage and administer on the back end that you don't necessarily see on a day-to-day basis, but a project closeout and things like that. And so I've documented, I put together a letter at the front there with some bullet points, and that just shows kind of over this additional 5 months that the project's extended. What we'll be doing as your advocate, as keeping up the communication with you. We'd like to continue doing that through this project. And if you have any questions, but really it's just to help see you through the end of this project and fill that role that we've been filling since October of last year with the contractor kind of being that intermediary for you. And so we want to continue to do that, continue to have your best interests at the forefront. And to do that, we need additional budget to see us through the end of this year. And this budget is hourly, so, we've tried to really capture everything here, but obviously, if no help is needed, it will all be charged. So, if there's any questions, I'd love to answer those.
So what was this amount? I see this not to exceed $515,952.
Yeah, that is the.
What was the, prior to extending this contract to December 31st, what was that figure?
I think it was $497. So what we've done is add $18,000 to that construction phase admin line that's in bold, letter D. So that admin line used to be $58,228, and that's $76. And so then that just added that $18,000 to that total number at the top.
So you're not adding 76.
So our additional,
That number, yeah.
so what you're saying is our additional fee is $18,000?
Correct.
And because this document that you send doesn't really reflect that.
Sure.
Alright.
In this cover letter here, I highlight that right above the bullet points, just saying the additional compensation is requested is $18,000 over the additional 5 months.
Is that, maybe my hearing is affecting my vision.
You're fine.
So the negotiations for $13,000, what I see.
Yeah, the way the contract's set up, it's just, we have to modify the language, and so all we have to really modify is we're not adding necessarily new scope that isn't already captured in the contract, we're just adding more budget because of the time extension.
Okay. So it's in the cover letter.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, so Karen touched on SRF, and in exchange for getting easy access to funds and at a relatively low interest rate, the drawback is they have onerous paperwork requirements to do every draw. They do on-site inspections and those types of things. So it does add. So now that the biosolids project has been pushed out through November, just that part of it, I can't speak to the rest because I'm not an engineer. Just that part with the SRF is pretty. They have a lot of requirements that you have to jump through.
I'd be happy to share that with you, or if you have any questions. But yeah, they check in with me on the project. They have me kind of fill out forms, progress reports. They ask for phone calls on a kind of regular basis. So I'm happy to do that, but I want to continue to do that for the city, and so that's kind of where this comes from. And then, as it listed out, potentially, part of our contract is construction observation, so coming out on site as well. And then just any questions that the contractor has based on design, those come back to us, the engineers in the office. So we want to continue to keep your project moving and answer those questions.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second? Any discussion?
I have a question for Chris.
Sorry, who seconded?
It's for you, Chris.
No, who seconded? Sorry.
No one seconded it.
I will
Oh,
make a
okay,
motion.
okay.
I thought there was gonna
We
be
need a second.
I thought there was.
What?
Anybody
I'll second, but I have a question.
Okay.
So you're gonna go back to SRF to get the extra 18,000?
That's one of the topics of discussion. As Karen and I were talking about before the meeting, it really this interplays with the whole transition negotiations. So it's all kind of, I guess, wrapped up in that. One option is to go back to SRF for just this, so the 260-something thousand for the biosolids, and have this board do it. But I think Ken would tell you that for this board to take on new debt, the mayor would have to sign off. Another option is for the new boards to do it, and another option is to, pay for it like we're going, and then next year maybe the boards want to do something different. I don't know. There's a couple different options, but they kind of all relate to the transition process.
So then what is the status with SEH? Because I don't see a bill from them, and they did some consulting for us too. So where are we at with that, and how much is that bill?
I think they submitted a bill last month, and I think it was what, 5,000.
Okay, so that's done.
I don't know if they're doing any additional work. I don't believe they're doing anything else.
I heard from them
Yeah.
since the
Okay.
And they haven't submitted another bill.
Well, I just wanted to make
No,
sure.
not at this point. No.
Okay, so we're okay there. Okay,
Again, I make a motion to approve.
I made a second, so.
Any other further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any budget update?
No, I spoke with Chris today and we're just kind of holding on that. We're kind of in a wait and see, and then we'll see in the next couple months where we're at, if we're gonna have a final meeting or what.
Thanks.
We can't really do anything right now, so.
Again, it wrapped into the transition process. So.
I see projects not on here. Did you have any comments?
The few projects we have going on, biosolids, I don't think we need to update on. There's nothing more. The building, the Field Forces building, I did a final walkthrough with Dave and the group out there. What was that, Friday? Yeah, Friday. The building looks absolutely great. If you haven't had a chance to get out there, get with Dave or Dan. They'll be able to take you out there and show you the building. It looks fantastic. A few little things I think that are getting addressed, but asphalt. That was the only, we're doing that work and the landscaping work, so we're getting that addressed before they start moving in. They'll be moving stuff probably next week, right? Hopefully next week. CIPP is finished up. Dombey Road is finished up. I drove down it the other day. It looks really, really good. I think there are a few little things that need to be done.
Yeah, just a couple mailbox issues,
Yep.
stuff like that.
But the side streets aren't done, but that's part of the paving project.
Yes, yeah, that's part of the paving project. On the West Side Interceptor, they're still waiting for final completion on everything. There's one manhole issue left, and I think
So we're waiting for manhole design
that's what it was.
and asphalt patch.
So once those are complete, that project will be done as well. Other than that, there are no more bond projects. Dave, do you have an update on Brant Street?
Branch Street, we ordered the structures, so we're waiting for the manufacturer to construct it.
Okay.
And then we'll be ready to install it.
Oh, great.
Install it, are you talking singular now?
No,
or-
there's, I think, what, two or four structures out there?
I think at one point we were talking 4, I think it's 2.
Is it two? But yeah, I know they're ordered, we're just waiting for them to manufacture.
Okay.
Concrete.
Who was the engineer that went out there on that, do you know? To, say, bring it from 4 to 2.
You know, I couldn't answer that question for you.
I think it went from 4 to 2. I could be wrong. It may still be 4. I'm not 100% certain myself. I just remember that discussion at some point.
Located where we're gonna put them?
Yeah,
Are they
we
marked?
actually got the plan for it. I could actually,
Who did the
find that out
plan?
for you tomorrow.
Who-
Let you know.
Who designed it?
Yeah,
The plan.
Great things to
the original plan.
original plan. We were just waiting to get the actual paperwork from them.
So who's gonna install this?
Our guys, our
You guys?
drainage crew is going to install
And when can we expect those to be installed?
whenever we get them.
How long is it usually, when were they ordered?
I believe Dan said last week,
How
week
long-
before maybe.
How long does it take?
Not really sure, they didn't give us a time frame.
I'm gonna come down there probably tomorrow or Thursday.
Okay.
Go over all this, because I wanna make sure we get this done way before it starts.
Text me before you come, make sure me and Dan are there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, since you're at the podium, go ahead.
my report,
Yeah, your report.
anything outside the weekly report, I really don't have anything, unless you guys have any questions about it.
Fitz Avenue. Has that been given the go-ahead? Have they started?
They have not.
Who's managing that project?
You know, Dan called me on Fitz and, because we approved it last
We
meeting.
did.
There's a document that was supposed to be at this meeting tonight for me to sign off on.
You don't
There's
have
the
it?
answer, I guess. So no, I don't have it, you don't have it.
Is Dan gonna be in the office tomorrow?
Should be.
All right. I'll follow up with him, because he and I spoke last week.
Okay.
He said he didn't say he was physically bringing it, but he said it would be here. So I think I have to sign off on that.
Okay. So it gets it going?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't received
Like,
anything.
nothing has trickled through me about fits at all. I've not heard from a word.
What is it we need to know? I mean,
I guess, well, when we're gonna start the project.
Wait, so the board made a motion that should have been issued a letter to proceed.
okay.
And then they would have sent the contract.
Who typically issues this letter to proceed?
I think the engineering department does.
Who's the engineer on this project?
Don't have one.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's the,
That could be the
we
disconnect.
found, we found the problem.
I'll get to the bottom of it tomorrow.
Because typically Mr. Hayden would have done that.
That may be the holdup.
Mulberry, wasn't there something going, there's emergency caving or something on Mulberry?
I think corner of Mulberry and Willow Creek.
Yes.
Anthony will be taking care of that.
And it's such.
And it's Kitchen Form, right? That's who we're actually waiting on. Last time we had dug the road up, closed it down, this time we're gonna try to slip one in.
And we cambered that,
We cambered it and sent that to Institute One.
and we're waiting on, okay.
We're waiting on Brandon sending from Institute One. He received the video, the pictures, and everything last week.
Mulberry and Willow Creek.
Willow Creek and Mulberry. On the west side.
Any other questions?
Did,
You wanna bring that up?
It's up to you. If you wanna talk about it, you can.
oh,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, did we ever find, the issue Sue had brought up a couple meetings ago about the sewers in, I forget what road?
Oh, it's, the cul-de-sac at.
The
Brookline?
Brookline, yeah.
Brookline, it was just because of the storm. That's when we had that big storm in February. We did go out there and look at it and everything. There's nothing wrong. It's just system problem. Kind of a bad design in that area, just, so.
Oh, well, I just wanted to bring up that Dave organized a meeting today that I was at 1 o'clock. Courtney was there. It's with Tree City because, as you know, I've been wanting to be a Tree City for a long time. But DNR was there and presented this fabulous information about how much water the trees take up and keep from going into our waterway system when there's a heavy rain. It was absolutely fabulous information. So it was a great 2-hour meeting. We learned a lot, and I'm hoping that we move forward with that. What was that place where they took the trees out and they figured they lost like 3 million gallons of water? That
I think it was Attica, but
Attica?
I think it was Attica, because he had asked me that when we came back, and I think we were talking about Attica.
Now, did they have anything with types of trees that should be in Park Place?
They did. They had so much information, Ed, it was crazy. They had
No,
something
that's
about the
cool.
curbings, they had everything that we've been talking about here the
I'd
last
like to get some of
years.
that from you.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't get, I mean, we just did a lot of talking, but she told us it's obscene the number of grants that are out there that will help us with this
Good.
project. And one of them first that we have to embark on is an inventory of the trees in the city and the condition of the trees, because we have dead trees all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, at one town, they took out a bunch of trees, but those tree roots were holding the soil, and, you know, so there's a lot more to just doing something. And, you know, there's a way to plant trees. I mean, technically, probably about 6 years ago, I was pushing for this, and I'm gonna get back on my bandwagon again about having an arborist or a certified forester for the city, because we need that in this city. We don't have anybody. I mean, this park here lost 61 trees in a microburst, and we did not replant any of them. Anytime we lose a tree, we need to have a dedicated plan that it's an urban forest, and the cities that have beautiful urban forests are thriving. People are moving there, and we've got to get in control of that. I mean, we're not managing our urban forests in this city at all.
And to be honest, we're one of the only communities in Northwest Indiana that is not a tree city.
Yeah, I've been trying since I've been on this council to be a tree city. Now, we got clean community, but we are not a tree city, and I mean, LaPorte, some of the cities around us they share a forester or an arborist. But we don't have anybody even looking after the welfare of the trees. And why? Because the reason we met it is because it falls under MS4 actually, because it holds the soil, but it keeps water from draining so fast into our streams and that, and it's a way of managing your MS4.
Sure. And it helps with like the issues we've been having, like if we as a city own this tree, we can go out there and fix it if it's disturbing the curb and stuff, and replace it with a new sapling. And they can't say, you know, there's nothing
Exactly.
bad about it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
You know what I
get
mean?
across too, sure,
Right.
sure.
So right now, if we go out there and try to remove a tree, as you know, it's the homeowner's tree, and we're opting to take it down, and that creates issues.
Well, not no more.
Right.
But then we'll put something in place of it. That's why I was asking if they
Right.
gave you something to we can, absolutely.
Well, Pat, another thing she told us about, is it the easements that they're making wider so that you can,
Yeah, the right of ways.
the right-of-ways, they're making them wider so they can accommodate a tree and its roots, specific trees.
Yeah. Ours is small.
Not oak trees.
Ours is only 5 feet, 10 feet and 5 foot of its sidewalk.
They're talking about it in the front of the house, like Fallen Timber's a great example. You got like a 3-foot easement from the curb to the sidewalk. Some places are making them 8 foot. It's almost kind of crazy how much grass they're putting there.
It's good.
That's good, that's a good idea.
So when we did Clean Cities, the first time we did Clean Cities, NIPSCO has a tree program and they have sizable trees and they bring them out and deliver them to you. And we got, I think 2 times we got a dozen trees. And you have to draw a schematic of how they're gonna shade that facility to protect it from the sun and, you know, the temperatures when it gets hot. So I don't know what happened to those trees. There's 24 of them here somewhere in this park. I don't know where they went.
Yeah, I'd like to see something like that out
But
there
the
too
thing
as
is,
well.
if they're not taken care of, just planting them is one thing. But managing them, trimming them, you know, they said it takes 3 years for a tree to actually get stable in the ground there. And you can't just
Leave it.
was it Michigan City? They planted like 200 trees. They watered them for 3 years and then they thought they didn't have to water again and they lost all 200 trees because no one managed the trees.
That's a shame.
So, and the other thing is they told us about, what is it called, heat, when the asphalt heats up,
I don't remember what they.
how it affects the trees. It was an amazing presentation.
Radiant heat or something?
It's called heat something, but.
What's the presentation presented at? Was it Burke County or?
Here in the mayor's office, and she came up from DNR. She's a person that works with cities like ours to help them through.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
that's good. That's nice.
Yeah, but thanks to Dave, because he's the one that.
How come all of us didn't know about this?
Well, I didn't tell anybody
We
else
just started
because
small, I mean, we're
yeah,
just,
she's the one that initially asked me about it, so I just
Yeah.
figured that it was. I mean, if we
We'll
wanted
learn
to.
more about it.
ultimately, we
We're gonna tackle
could
it.
create a tree board.
We'll learn more about it.
Yeah, I figured it.
I think it's a good idea to get an arborist because just like with the banks on the creek
So
holiday.
you gotta get that in Dave's budget, because he doesn't have anybody. They would, and actually, they pay to send them to
Oh, they have a lot
school,
of property there.
so they become certified.
I don't know where they would be if they was at MS4 so.
Yeah,
Maybe we can partner with the county, but does the county have an arborist?
not that I know of.
It'd be interesting to see if the county, township, Ogden Dunes, schools, this is a good partnership opportunity, so.
The thing is, Colin, is that for us, it's probably a full-time job
Yeah.
right now, because we're so far behind the 8 ball. We need that person. Is John McQuestion an arborist?
I think he is.
Yeah, I thought of that during that meeting, and I wondered about him. Because we could get a consultant arborist too, then we wouldn't have to pay benefits.
We're gonna have some problems for next year's budget, so I don't think we're gonna be adding any more people.
All right, well, thank you. That's exciting news.
Good.
Thanks, Sue.
All right, guys, thanks.
Not having nothing to talk about.
All right, before I ask Don to come up, I was remiss in not asking for the approval of the minutes of our last meeting. Apologize for that. So the chair would entertain a motion to approve last month's minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those
That's
in
what I was
favor?
wondering,
That was
when
that
I
funny
had
look
that
about.
puzzled look.
Yeah. So, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Don?
Hi there.
Hello, Don.
Good afternoon. So, I won't talk about trees. We got plenty of those at work. So anyway, the only really thing I got is, for the month of August, we were in full compliance with all parameters. Outside of that, the only thing, we still have some, loose ends on the gravity belt thing that we're working on. It's about 95%, what you say, Brian?
Yep.
The blowers are in, and there's, we're still waiting for some, comments to come back before we start them. And we got a lot of scrap from the old blowers.
Okay.
And so we're gonna take that in, we'll document everything, that what we're taking into the scrap yard. There may be some interest in one of the blowers. It's kind of hard to sell stuff from the 70s. Usually it just ends up being scrapped. So I just wanted to let this board know that that's our intention. And again, we'll document that before we
Thank you.
get it all out.
Yeah, that was
And I'll
mentioned once
give you
before.
a copy of all that. What left to plan and where it went.
Thank you.
And the money goes back into our budget, and that way we can use it up there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Don.
Yeah, no problem. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
They
You're all welcome to come down and take a look at things as they're
When is,
getting assembled together.
when's the Vinyl Sounds project gonna start?
I don't have a time to, Brian, have you heard anything? I mean,
Start as in the pad.
Yes. When are they,
It's in the next few weeks. GeoPeer requested a drawing from us last week, which we sent them so that they can finalize their design. Once their design is finalized, which should be, Karen, did you say this week? It's either late this week or early next week, we'll get their design for review. And then we'll have that turned around within a few days, if not that day. And then they can actually mobilize, which could take a week, it could take 3 weeks. I think when they put their proposal together, it was about 3 weeks they estimated that they would actually be on site to do their work. So it's within the next month that they should be breaking ground.
and then once they break ground, how long is it gonna take?
It's about a week to 2 weeks for the GeoPeer installation. And then Thieneman can start putting their stone base in, and then the rebar is gonna take several weeks, and then the concrete pad, they're planning on pouring that in one long day.
So are we still in our time frame, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
And when is the time frame? End of December, is that when?
And the end of October is when the pad should be poured, and then it takes a month for the concrete to fully cure. And so that month of November really is the paperwork closeout and punch list items. But the bulk of the work should be done at the end of October.
Okay.
Ready for good weather.
And we'll still be into winter concrete. We're still gonna.
I think they're trying to work with the plant right now to keep that excluded. But if there's any other hiccups that would push that, then we'll look at it. But I think they're working with us right now to keep it out of winter concrete.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Don?
Is your sawdust trick still working
Oh,
well?
yeah, good thing you asked. I was thinking about mentioning that. Actually, we're experimenting with a pile about 30 yards. Our initial solids were only 11% when we started. amended, and it kind of got a recipe, and it got to 28%. And actually today, we put more sawdust in it. We're trying to get it to 35%. That way, we were talking with an agronomist, and to get the temperature to start coming up like a compost pile, and then it'll start taking that water out of it. So we want to see how high we can get it, then we can add to it. It's a small process, but if it works, we could actually help ourselves there.
So, forgive my ignorance.
Yeah.
Is it possible to use that in conjunction with the biosolids pad to drive up the solids even more?
Or you mean the sawdust or the compost? Yeah,
The sawdust.
it's like compost. It's very fine. It comes from a cabinet making company in Lowell, and he's giving it to us right now. I'm sure there will be a cost, but that cost will be minimal compared to the dryness we're getting. The trade back would be zero. But if you'd like to come and take a look, I mean, it is what it is, but it looks like black dirt right now. So we're in the experimental stages. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I take the temperature in there, you know.
Soon you're gonna have other.
See, you have to get it to about 130. You can actually meet the regulations for biosolids if you can maintain in windrow. There's a specific language there that allows you to do that. If you can achieve it that way, you will meet some of the regulations too. So.
Soon you'll have other plants coming to see what you guys.
Well, actually, Angola does, and they've been doing it for 10 years. What we're doing, they've been doing it for 10 years.
What is their solid percentage? What do they have their solids?
Their solids come out about 17, but once they mix their compost, they're probably getting way up in the 20s or 30% range. There are two different types of class and sludges where they can get some away, and then they can lay them.
I was gonna ask what they do with their sludge.
There's a point you can get to that you can give it away to the community.
That was the exact
Can you
way I was
use
going
it
with
like
that.
Milorganite? Is that kind of
Yeah, it's like,
Milorganite?
it'd be like Milwaukee, like Milwaukee does it.
So can the city mix, I mean, because I know we've got a lot of compost out there, so can the city use it now if you get it dry enough and take some of that? We can't do it.
Our permit doesn't allow us to do that right yet.
But we could if we had the right permit.
There's an opportunity always.
Is there an odor to that?
Pardon me?
Is there an odor to that?
The odor seems to be a little earthy,
Okay.
not so much, you know, pungent like it usually is. Okay. So yeah, I did notice the odor, kind of a different odor, more natural.
It'd definitely be interesting to see if that's something to explore.
Well,
Getting a different type of a permit so we could do that if we're able to get to that point.
so, I mean, once we get the pad in, there's the opportunity to do some different things for them. And drying it up does a lot of things.
Great, that's
fantastic.
wonderful.
So we'll keep you posted and updated.
Sure. Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Not, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Any new business? All right, reception of remonstrances, public input, or any other business. This time I'll entertain any comments from the public. Please state your name and your address. Okay, hearing none, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.